Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy Boulanger. Up next on the GM, we're going to be discussing the biggest matchups in week number 2. Do me a quick favor as we get started. Hit like. If it is your first time checking out the GM, hit subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's go. So, with week 1 in the books and everybody turning their focus to week 2, regardless of injury, regardless of performance, what are the biggest matchups? Well, let's start with the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a big matchup because both teams come into week 2 with something to prove. From different angles, I might add, Baltimore coming off a 25-9 win, and Cincinnati coming off a embarrassing loss to the hands of division rival the Cleveland Browns. What do the Baltimore Ravens have to prove in this game? Well, they have to prove that all of the offense adjustments that they're going to have to make this week with the offensive line, that they're going to be effective. Both the center Tyler Linderbaum and Ronnie Stanley, left tackle, are both are out this week. And so the Baltimore Ravens are going to be performing this week with replacement parts up front. Now, the starting offensive line didn't perform super swell last week. So the storyline is, how will this retooled offensive line perform this week with replacement parts? So that's what I believe the Baltimore Ravens are going to be focused on this week: how to get their offensive line to gel quickly with replacement parts in order to put on a good performance in the running game and provide enough protection for Lamar Jackson to get the ball out of his hands and into the hands of his playmaker. What do the Cincinnati Bengals have to prove? Well, after being embarrassed last week with a stumbling, fumbling, bumbling offense, the Bengals are going to come out this week with a focus on how to get this offense revved up and going. Well, they have the tools, right? They have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. They have good running backs in the backfield. And they had somewhat of a remade, retooled offensive line. And um, they're going to be looking to get this offense going. I think that's going to be the focus. And so I think that both teams have something to prove on offense. And I think the Baltimore Ravens still have a little bit to prove on the defensive side of the ball, especially with Marcus Williams going down at the safety position, and then also Marlon Humphreys with a big question mark if he'll play this week. So this is going to be a big, big matchup. I'll give you my late week predictions probably on Friday, as we did last week. Matchup number 2, that's a big deal this week, is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay. This is a big matchup. Number one, because these are both playoff teams from last year and the champions from last year, the Kansas City Chiefs. This matchup is big because the Kansas City Chiefs maybe not really got embarrassed, but they had a surprising loss to the hands of the upstart Detroit Lions, who came into Kansas City and knocked them off. Patrick Mahomes throwing a pick six, and the offensive performance didn't look as great without Travis Kelce, who is still a question mark for week number 2. Jacksonville Jaguars struggled with the Indianapolis Colts for about 3 quarters and then pulled away late in that game against Indianapolis, where rookie Anthony Richardson did throw the ball really well against the Jacksonville defense. So, will the Jacksonville defense stand up and their offense put up another 30-point performance? Or will the Kansas City defense and offense rise and shine and get their first victory of the season? I think that this is going to be probably a high scoring game. I think Kansas City will make an effort to run the ball and also get the ball downfield, which was a little shaky last week with a lot of drops and things like that. The Kansas City secondary is not super great, but still a quality secondary, specifically because the defensive edge who had 3 sacks last week, Josh Allen, put on, is continuing to improve and put on a good show last week. So it's going to be a kind of a battle of the playmakers. Patrick Mahomes and his receiving corps, and Trevor Lawrence and his receiving corps, but also which defense is going to make plays to get off the field on third down and fourth down. And So we'll give our prediction at the end of the week this week on that Jacksonville versus Kansas City matchup. Next big game we're going to highlight is going to be the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. Now, I'm not sure if this game was flexed to Monday night because the Monday night headliner was the Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints. Who's really watching that one? But nevertheless, Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers is a divisional game, kind of a rough and tumble matchup. I think that both teams will come to play, and I think that what's going to happen is you're going to see the Pittsburgh Steelers make a good effort to run the ball against this really good Cleveland Browns front. I think that's the big storyline of this game. They have to run the ball to keep pressure off of their young quarterback, Kenny Pickett, in order to set up the pass game. I think that's how Pittsburgh is going to approach this game, especially after being embarrassed last week by the San Francisco 49ers when they really didn't get anything going. Okay. I think for the Cleveland Browns, they're going to come into this game looking to run the ball, not to take pressure off Deshaun Watson necessarily, but I think they're going to come in to run the ball, especially after seeing how Christian McCaffrey did whatever he wanted mostly last week against this Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Nick Chubb is a quality back, stout, strong, powerful, and he rushed for over 100 yards last week. I predict he goes over 100 yards this week, and this divisional matchup will um, be really a battle of wheels. I don't see Mike Tomlin allowing the Pittsburgh Steelers to come out with a lackluster performance this week, and I look for Cleveland to continue to press on the gas and really kind of say we're here. I think that's what Cleveland is trying to do. A lot of people pass off week one victories and things like that because it's week one and a lot of starters didn't play in the preseason. But I think the Cleveland Browns are making an effort, making an effort to let the NFL know that we're here and we're like that. They put on a good running performance last week. Deshaun Watson did enough in the passing game to put that game away early from Cincinnati, and then the defense was just smothering. And so I look for the defenses to play big time football. TJ Watt had 3 sacks last week. I look for him to, continue to try to do his thing defensively. I look for the Pittsburgh Steelers to exploit the loss of Jack Conklin. The Cincinnati Bengals, I believe he is their right tackle. So I think that you're going to see um, really a battle in the trenches. I think it's going to come down to the trenches with this game. Whose offensive line and defensive line performs the best? I think that team is who gets this victory. We'll predict this also later in the week. And let me do this game as a big matchup just for conversation's sake. The Miami Dolphins versus the New England Patriots. Now we know the Miami Dolphins got a big win last week, put up a lot of yards, a lot of points last week against the San Diego Chargers. But the San Diego Chargers are not the New England Patriots in the context of um, defense. I think that although New England has not had the lights out defense they had of the past, Bill Belichick is still a coach who is a strategist, and he will strategize a way to create limits for that Miami Dolphins offense. Can he trick Tua into some turnovers? That's going to be the question. If he cannot trick Tua into turning that ball over, this game may get ugly really quick because New England does not have a quick strike offense like the Miami Dolphins have. And so I think the storyline of this game is going to be what scheme does Bill Belichick construct for this matchup against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And I think on the offensive side of the ball for the New England Patriots, I think they're going to be heavy in the run game. I think if this game is close, I think that the New England Patriots run it 35 plus times. That's what I'm thinking is going to have to happen to kind of slow down this Miami offense. I've often said the best defense against a high potent offense is a clock burning offense. And so that happens in the run game. So those are my four big matchups for this week. The GM will give his predictions probably Thursday or Friday for this week. We went 5-0, 6-0 last week. So we look to continue our streak of perfection. I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and we're out.